So many questions. Upon seeing a man born blind, Jesus' disciples ask, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" After the man's eyes are opened, neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar begin to ask, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg? How were your eyes opened?" Then they bring the man to the Pharisees, and the Pharisees also ask him how he has received his sight. Later, the Pharisees question him again, this time asking whether Jesus is a sinner. So many questions. None of this makes sense. As worldviews crumble, as expectations shift, as answers vaporize, everyone struggles to understand what is happening and why. The only answer that sticks is the response of the one who actually sees Jesus. The man who was formerly blind says, "One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see." This response doesn't answer the questions, but it sure does shift the focus. Through this simple statement, the man invites his community to turn their attention away from speculation and explanation, and instead to turn their attention toward their lived experience of God's grace. God is doing something amazing before their very eyes, and they do not see it. I don't know about you all, but my attention has been both everywhere and nowhere this week as my own worldview crumbles and as I try to understand what is happening and why. Every day we learn both more and somehow less about this virus and about what we can expect from our institutions, what we can expect from our communities, and what we can expect from ourselves. This is, as we are hearing again and again, an unprecedented time, a time of great uncertainty. We have many questions, and a lot depends on their answers, including life itself. We have questions like, what is an essential errand or meeting, and what can be postponed? When will our children be able to return to school? For how long should we suspend in-person worship? Who is most vulnerable, and how can they stay safe? What if I lose my job? What if someone I love gets sick? How much worse will this get before it gets better? Some of our questions have answers, but many of them do not. And so we abide in this disorienting space of unknowing, of uncertainty. That much is true. And the answers aren't going to materialize until they do, whenever that is. In the meantime, however, our visionary friend from John's Gospel invites us to shift our focus, to attend not to speculation, but to the reality of God's grace in our midst. There are some things that we do know right now, and some things that we are seeing in a new way. Now we see that we really need each other. This practice of social distancing or physical presence distancing is exceptionally hard because turns out we are social beings. I saw about 30 of your smiling faces on Wednesday evening for Compline, and I almost wept with gratitude. We are interdependent, and right now we really miss one another. There is grace in realizing this. Now we see that life is a fragile gift. Underneath the fear and panic that constrict our hearts these days is a deep and powerful desire to live and to live fully. We only have this one wild and precious life, as Mary Oliver calls it. Now more than ever, we are aware of this gift and of our desire to use it well. Now we see that love takes courage. First responders, medical practitioners, even grocery baggers are putting themselves in vulnerable positions in order to do the work that needs doing for the sake of us all.
Author Debbie Thomas describes unselfish love as risky, inconvenient, and essential. We are seeing that courageous love is essential. Now we see that God is present, even now. God is made known to us not only in the breaking of the bread, but also in the praying via Zoom. Just look at this gathering.
If you are joining us from a computer screen, I invite you now to click on the top right of your screen for gallery view. We did this once before. And click around through the 3 screens worth of images and just take a moment to look at one another. God is here because you are here. We see this now. So what else are you seeing? What does God's grace look like for you right now? Tell someone, tell everyone, because we all need to hear it. We need to see it. We need the proclamation that we are not alone and that God is here. The things that we do not or cannot know are still open questions. But the unknowns don't have to be our only focus, at least not right now. For now, for today, we know at least this: God is at work in and around us. For now, we see. Amen.